First contact and deception. The massive Council ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, its crystalline surface refracting starlight in impossible patterns. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the ESS Sentinel, humanity's most advanced space vessel, though it would seem primitive to their visitors. At 45, with steel-gray eyes and weathered features, she had seen humanity's first steps into space. Now she would witness their introduction to galactic society. Multiple signatures detected, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his dark eyes fixed on the sensor displays. The main vessel is. It's bigger than anything we've ever built, nearly 15 kilometers long. Sarah maintained her composure, though her heart raced. Earth's combined space fleet consisted of 30 ships, none larger than a kilometer. The arrival of the Council had been preceded by automated messages, promising peaceful contact and technological exchange. Now, facing the reality of their advanced visitors, she understood humanity's true place in the cosmic hierarchy. The Council ship's communication arrived with perfect clarity, transmitted in flawless English. Greetings, vessels of Earth. I am High Counselor Nexus. We come representing the Galactic Council of Unified Species. The holographic image that appeared on the bridge showed a being that seemed almost engineered to appear non-threatening to human sensibilities. Humanoid, but with silvery skin and large, expressive eyes that conveyed wisdom and benevolence. Welcome to Earth space, High Counselor, Sarah responded, following the carefully prepared diplomatic protocols. I am Admiral Chen of the Earth Space Service. Your species has caught our attention. Admiral, Nexus said, his voice carrying an almost musical quality. Your rapid technological advancement, particularly in the last century, is remarkable. We believe Earth is ready to join the galactic community. Over the next several weeks, the Council shared seemingly generous gifts of technology, medical advances that could cure most diseases, energy systems that could end Earth's dependence on fossil fuels, and agricultural techniques that could feed billions. But Dr. Marcus Wong, Earth's leading genotechnologist, noticed something odd about these gifts. In his secure laboratory beneath the Pacific Ocean, Marcus examined the Council's technologies with growing concern. They're giving us everything except defensive capabilities, he told Sarah during a classified briefing. And what they do share seems limited, like they're holding back crucial components. Sarah had noticed something else. The Council representatives never stayed on Earth for long, always returning to their ship. And their questions about Earth's military capabilities seemed too frequent, he pointed. There's more, Marcus continued, pulling up complex technical readouts. I've detected energy signatures from their ship that don't match anything they told us about. They're hiding their true technological level. The breakthrough came 3 months into the Council's visit. Dr. Elena Volkova, a quantum physicist working in Marcus's team, discovered a pattern in the Council's database access requests. They're not just studying our technology, she reported. They're analyzing our potential for resistance. Every piece of data they've requested relates to our ability to fight back against superior forces. Sarah took this information to the United Earth Defense Council. In a secure bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, she presented her findings to the world's military and scientific leaders. The Council isn't here to help us join their community, she concluded. They're assessing whether we're a threat. And based on their pattern of technology sharing, they're attempting to guide our development in a way that leaves us dependent and vulnerable. Defense Secretary Williams, a veteran of 3 wars, leaned forward. What do you propose, Admiral? Sarah's response would set in motion events that would change humanity's destiny. We accept their gifts, but we build something they don't expect. Something that combines their technology with human ingenuity in ways they've never imagined. They'll be watching everything we do, Williams warned. Then we build it where they can't watch, Sarah replied. The Council thinks they're manipulating us into becoming dependent on their technology. Instead, we'll use their own arrogance against them. As the meeting concluded, Sarah watched the Council ship through a video feed, its crystalline surface still refracting starlight. But now she saw it differently. Not as a symbol of advanced civilization, but as a warning of what humanity faced. In secret facilities across Earth, Operation Phoenix began. While the Council believed they were carefully controlling humanity's development, humans were already working to surpass their supposed benefactors. The game of deception had begun, and humanity would prove far better at it than the Council expected. The Council's worst fear was about to come true. Humanity would not be contained. The Hidden Project. 2 kilometers beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, Dr. Maya Patel watched as quantum computers simulated another weapons test. Project Phoenix's development facility, nicknamed The Forge, was humanity's best-kept secret. The facility sprawled through massive caverns carved by advanced boring machines, their existence hidden from the Council's orbital sensors by a combination of natural ice shields and experimental cloaking technology. Analysis complete, announced the AI system Maya had developed. Quantum torpedo yield exceeds Council shield specifications by 300%. Recommended adjustments uploaded to fabrication. Maya brushed a strand of black hair from her face, dark eyes reflecting the holographic displays surrounding her. At 32, she was the youngest lead scientist on the project, chosen for her breakthrough work in quantum mechanics and AI development. "How are they not detecting this?" asked Colonel James Harper, the military liaison assigned to the Forge. His weathered face showed both concern and amazement as he watched another successful test. "Because they're not looking for it," Maya replied, manipulating the holographic controls. "The Council thinks we're decades away from understanding quantum mechanics at this level. They don't realize we've been studying their technology at a molecular level, finding flaws they never considered." The massive chamber adjacent to the control room housed humanity's answer to the Council's manipulation. The HSS Prometheus. Unlike the crystalline elegance of Council vessels, the Prometheus was dark and angular, its hull composed of metamaterials that absorbed both light and sensor scans. At nearly 3 kilometers long, it represented everything humanity had learned about Council technology, and everything they had improved upon. Chief Engineer David Chen, a veteran of Earth's first Mars colony, supervised the installation of the ship's core systems. "The Council made a fundamental mistake," he explained during the daily briefing. "They assumed we would use their technology exactly as they showed us. Instead, we looked at it through human eyes, saw possibilities they never imagined." The Prometheus's heart was a hybrid drive system that combined Council quantum mechanics with human plasma physics. The result was an engine that could match Council ships for speed while remaining virtually undetectable. But the real breakthrough came from Dr. Sarah Chen's daughter, Lisa Chen, who had followed her mother's footsteps into military service. "The Council's shields operate on predictable frequencies," Lisa explained, pointing to complex waveform displays. "We've developed a targeting system that identifies and exploits microscopic vulnerabilities in their shield harmonics. When they scan us, they'll see what looks like a primitive human vessel. They won't realize we can penetrate their defenses until it's too late." Maya's AI systems were the key to making it all work. They could analyze and adapt to Council tactics faster than any human operator, while remaining immune to Council cyber warfare techniques. The AI's neural networks were based on human brain patterns, making them unpredictable to alien logic. In the facility's metallurgy lab, Dr. Victor Rossi supervised the production of hull plating that could absorb energy weapons and redirect the power to the ship's systems. "Every shot they fire at us will only make us stronger," he said, his Italian accent thick with pride. "They expect us to build ships like theirs. This will be something entirely new." The project wasn't without its close calls. Council surveillance satellites made regular passes over Antarctica, their sensors probing the ice. But the Forge's location had been chosen carefully. Natural electromagnetic anomalies in the region masked their power signature, while the ice sheet itself blocked most conventional scans. One evening, as Maya worked late in her lab, Admiral Sarah Chen visited the Forge for an inspection. The two women stood before the massive viewport, watching as robotic assemblers worked on the Prometheus's weapon systems. "The council representatives are getting suspicious," Sarah informed Maya. "They're asking more questions about our research facilities, requesting tours of our deep-sea installations." "How long do we have?" Maya asked, already calculating new production schedules in her head. "A month, maybe less. Their last transmission mentioned sending an inspection team to verify our technological compliance with council standards." Sarah's expression hardened. "We need the Prometheus ready before that happens." Maya nodded, her mind racing through possibilities. "We'll need to accelerate the AI integration tests. Running multiple systems simultaneously will be risky, but we're out of options." The next few weeks saw the forge operating at maximum capacity. Engineers and scientists worked in shifts around the clock, sleeping in nearby quarters rather than returning to the surface. Every component had to be perfect. They would only get one chance to surprise the council. As the Prometheus neared completion, Maya stood in the ship's ag core, surrounded by quantum processors that would give the vessel its edge in combat. She placed her hand on the central processing unit, feeling the slight vibration of calculations occurring at near-light speed. "We're ready for final integration tests," she announced over the facility's comm system. "All departments, prepare for full power startup sequence." The Prometheus hummed to life, its systems awakening one by one. In the control room, dozens of technicians monitored their stations as power flowed through the massive vessel. The hybrid drive core pulsed with contained energy, while weapon systems charged silently, invisible to external sensors. They had built something unprecedented, a warship that combined the best of human innovation with reversed engineered council technology. But more importantly, they had built it while maintaining the illusion of compliance with council restrictions. The deception was almost complete. Soon, the council would learn that humanity had surpassed their expectations in ways they never imagined possible. The Prometheus wasn't just a warship, it was humanity's declaration of independence from council manipulation, and its unveiling would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Betrayal unveiled. High Counselor Nexus's true face emerged during what should have been a routine diplomatic meeting. The council ship's crystalline surface darkened ominously as he addressed Earth's representatives through the holographic interface, his once benevolent expression replaced by cold calculation. "Humanity has failed to meet council standards," he announced, his musical voice now carrying an edge of steel. "Our surveillance has detected unauthorized research facilities and energy signatures inconsistent with approved technology levels. This violation of council directives cannot be tolerated." Admiral Sarah Chen sat in the secure command center beneath Geneva, watching the transmission with carefully controlled features. Around her, Earth's military leadership maintained similar composure, despite the gravity of the moment. They had prepared for this day. "The Council hereby assumes direct control of Earth's technological development," Nexus continued. "Our peacekeeping fleet will arrive within 48 hours to begin the integration process. Any resistance will be met with appropriate force." "And if we refuse?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. Nexus's large eyes narrowed. "That would be unfortunate. Ask the Arcturians what happens to species that reject council guidance." "Oh wait, you can't. They no longer exist." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in momentary silence. General Maria Santos, commander of Earth's Space Force, was the first to speak. "Well, they finally showed their true colors." "Signal detected," announced Lieutenant Park from the sensor station. "Multiple ships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Count is 73 vessels, all heavy combat class." Sarah opened a secure channel to the forge. "Dr. Patel, is the Prometheus ready?" Maya's voice came back clear and confident. "Final systems check complete, Admiral. We can launch within the hour." "The Council fleet will reach Earth in 47 hours, Sarah announced to the assembled leaders. "I suggest we use that time wisely." The next 2 days saw the largest covert mobilization in human history. While the Council ships approached, believing Earth was scrambling in panic, humanity executed a plan years in the making. Civilian populations moved to hardened underground shelters, their movements masked by false heat signatures and holographic projections. The Council's first sign that something was wrong came when their advanced scouts lost contact with their supposedly active surveillance satellites. Earth's orbital defense grid, previously dismissed as primitive, suddenly displayed capabilities that shouldn't have been possible. Multiple Council vessels advancing past Mars orbit, reported Lieutenant Park. They're moving faster than expected. New arrival time estimated at 36 hours. In the Forge, Maya supervised the Prometheus's power-up sequence. The massive ship systems came online one by one, each performing beyond projected specifications. The AI core, synchronized with Maya's neural patterns, processed combat scenarios at unprecedented speeds. All hands, battle stations, Maya ordered. The crew, handpicked from every nation on Earth, moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for months in virtual simulations, but this would be their first real combat deployment. High above Antarctica, the ice sheet suddenly split apart, revealing a massive launching bay that had been hidden for years. The Prometheus rose silently into the night sky, its metamaterial hull absorbing light and sensor scans. To any observer, it would appear to be nothing more than a temporary sensor glitch. 24 hours before the Council fleet's arrival, Sarah implemented the next phase of Earth's defense. Quantum communication relays, hidden throughout the solar system, activated simultaneously. The Council ships found their sensor networks suddenly flooded with false readings, making it impossible to distinguish real targets from sophisticated decoys. They're responding exactly as predicted, Maya reported from the Prometheus's bridge. Their formation is splitting up to investigate multiple contacts. Their arrogance makes them predictable. They can't imagine we could deceive their superior technology. The Council fleet's command ship, a massive crystalline dreadnought, moved to a position just beyond lunar orbit. High Counselor Nexus's voice broadcast across all frequencies. This is your final warning. Submit to Council authority or face extinction. Sarah's response was brief. Humanity submits to no one. The Prometheus chose that moment to reveal itself, dropping its cloak less than 10 kilometers from the Council flagship. The vessel's dark hull seemed to drink in the starlight, its presence an impossible contradiction of everything the Council believed about human capabilities. By the void, Nexus's voice carried genuine shock. What have you done? We learned from you, Sarah replied. Every piece of technology you shared, every system you demonstrated, we studied them all. But unlike you, we saw possibilities where you saw limitations. The Prometheus's first shot demonstrated the truth of her words. A quantum torpedo, enhanced by human innovations, struck the Council flagship's shields. Instead of dispersing harmlessly, the weapon created a cascade failure that collapsed the supposedly impenetrable barrier. Multiple Council vessels altering course, Lieutenant Park announced. They're moving to engage the Prometheus. Maya's voice came through clear and confident. Let them come. Time to show them what humanity can really do. The battle for Earth's independence was about to begin, and humanity's greatest achievement was ready to prove that the Council's worst fears about human potential had been justified all along. Humanity strikes back. The void between Earth and Luna erupted into a light show that would have blinded unprotected eyes. The Prometheus moved like a predator through the Council fleet, its dark hull absorbing enemy fire while its enhanced weapons tore through supposedly impenetrable shields. Multiple direct hits on enemy vessels, reported Lieutenant Emma Chen, Lisa's younger sister and the ship's tactical officer. Their shield harmonics are adapting, but our AI is adapting faster. Maya stood at the command center, her neural link to the ship's AI providing real-time battlefield analysis. The Council ships fought with textbook precision, and that was their weakness. Centuries of unchallenged superiority had made them predictable. Target their command and control nodes, Maya ordered. The Council relies on centralized coordination. Let's show them why that's a mistake. The Prometheus's main weapon, dubbed the Quantum Cascade, fired. The beam appeared to miss the nearest Council vessel completely, until space itself seemed to fold around the target. The crystalline ship shattered into millions of pieces, its advanced technology useless against weapons that operated on principles the Council had never imagined. High Counselor Nexus's voice crackled across the command channel, losing its musical quality in favor of raw anger. "This is impossible. Your species cannot have this level of technology. You assumed we would use your technology the way you showed us." Maya responded, allowing a hint of satisfaction to enter her voice. "Instead, we looked at it with fresh eyes. Human eyes." The battle spread across the lunar sphere, Council ships finding their coordinated tactics disrupted by the Prometheus's unprecedented capabilities. The human vessel's hybrid drive system allowed it to appear seemingly anywhere in the battlefield, while its metamaterial hull made targeting nearly impossible. On Earth, Admiral Sarah Chen coordinated the larger defense strategy. The Council had expected to find a helpless planet ready for subjugation. Instead, they found their communication networks hacked, their sensor systems compromised, and their tactical advantages negated. "Launch the drones," Sarah commanded. Thousands of small autonomous vessels emerged from hidden bases across Earth's surface. Unlike traditional military drones, these were powered by quantum cores and guided by simplified versions of Maya's eye. They swarmed through the Council fleet like angry insects, their small size making them difficult targets while their advanced weapons wreaked havoc on enemy systems. "Council fleet formation is breaking down," reported General Santos. "They're trying to regroup beyond lunar orbit." The Prometheus pursued the retreating Council ships, its weapons continuing to demonstrate capabilities that defied Council understanding. Maya's eye had analyzed centuries of Council combat data in seconds, identifying patterns and weaknesses that the Council themselves had never noticed. "Their flagship is attempting emergency hyperspace jump," Emma announced. "Not today," Maya responded. The Prometheus fired its quantum anchors, another human innovation that combined Council technology with Earth physics. The energy web caught the Council flagship just as it attempted to flee, holding it in normal space. "You don't understand what you're doing," Nexus transmitted, his voice now showing real fear. "The Council maintains order in the galaxy. Without our guidance, chaos will reign." "No," Sarah's voice cut through the channel. "What you call order is stagnation. What you call guidance is suppression. Humanity will not be controlled." The Prometheus's next series of attacks systematically disabled the Council flagship's key systems. Other Council vessels, attempting to assist their leader, found themselves picked apart by the swarm of Earth drones. The few ships that managed to jump to hyperspace carried with them the message that humanity would not be an easy conquest. In the aftermath of the battle, Maya stood on the Prometheus's observation deck, watching the scattered debris of Council ships drift against the backdrop of Earth. The victory had been decisive, but she knew this was only the beginning. "The Council will return," Lisa said, joining her at the viewport. "They can't afford to let other species know they were defeated by a primitive civilization." Maya nodded. "That's what they don't understand. Today wasn't about defeating them. It was about showing the galaxy that their power isn't absolute." The quantum communications network, still functioning despite Council attempts to disable it, was already carrying news of the battle to other species. The Council's carefully maintained image of invincibility had been shattered by a species they had intended to subjugate. On the disabled Council flagship, High Counselor Nexus watched through crystalline windows as human shuttles approached to board his vessel. His people had ruled the galaxy for so long that they had forgotten what it meant to face true innovation and determination. The Council's worst fear had indeed come true, but they had yet to realize that this was only the beginning of humanity's rise. The age of stagnation was over, and a new era of human-led innovation was about to begin. A new dawn. 6 months after the Battle of Earth, the galactic landscape had changed dramatically. The captured Council flagship, now transformed into a diplomatic station, orbited Earth as representatives from dozens of species arrived to meet with the civilization that had shattered the Council's dominance. Maya stood before the assembled alien delegates in what had once been the Council's primary conference chamber. The crystalline walls now displayed real-time data from the Prometheus's AI, demonstrating humanity's technological achievements. The Council didn't fail because they were weak, Maya explained to the diverse gathering. They failed because they stopped evolving. They saw technology as something to control rather than explore. Among the delegates was Zora, an Arcturian survivor. Her species, thought extinct after Council peacekeeping actions, had actually gone into hiding in the galaxy's outer arms. For centuries, we believed we were alone in resisting Council dominance. Now we see that humanity has done what we thought impossible. The diplomatic gathering was more than just a celebration of Council defeat. It represented a fundamental shift in galactic civilization. Sarah, now serving as Earth's primary diplomatic representative, had proposed a new form of interstellar cooperation, the Alliance of Free Species. The alliance will be different from the Council in one fundamental way. Sarah addressed the gathering. We don't seek to control technological development. We want to encourage it, to see what each species can contribute when given the freedom to innovate. The evidence of this new approach was already visible. The Prometheus had been joined by other ships of its class, each incorporating improvements suggested by Alliance members. The Arcturians contributed their expertise in stealth technology, while the Viridians shared their advanced biological computing systems. In orbit around Mars, a massive construction project was underway. The Alliance's first joint research facility would combine the scientific knowledge of 20 different species. Unlike the Council's restricted technology sharing, this would be a true collaborative effort. We've received another distress signal, Lisa reported during a private meeting with Maya and Sarah. 3 more Council-controlled worlds are requesting Alliance protection. The Council's remaining forces had retreated to their core worlds, but their influence was crumbling. Species that had lived under their control for generations were rising up, inspired by Earth's example. What troubles me, Maya said, reviewing the latest intelligence, is that we haven't seen any sign of their superweapons. The Council ruled for thousands of years. They must have contingencies we haven't discovered yet. Sarah nodded grimly. That's why we're not celebrating yet. The Prometheus and its sister ships maintain constant patrol. The Alliance Early Warning Network covers 3 times the space the Council's ever did. But the greatest changes were cultural. The Alliance encouraged member species to maintain their unique identities while sharing their strengths. Earth had become a hub of interstellar commerce and scientific exchange. The sight of alien ships in Earth's skies had become commonplace, each bringing new ideas and opportunities. In the Forge, now expanded into a massive research complex, Maya worked with scientists from across the galaxy. The facility's quantum computers processed innovations at unprecedented rates, while its fabrication plants produced technologies that would have seemed magical just a year ago. The Council thought they could control evolution itself, Maya told a group of young scientists from various species. They forgot that true strength comes from adaptation and change. On the former Council flagship, Sarah met with the Alliance Security Council. The holographic displays showed the known galaxy, with former Council territories now highlighted in various colors representing their new status. We've confirmed that 3 more Council fleets have stood down, General Santos reported. Their crews are requesting asylum. They've seen what freedom of innovation can achieve, and they want to be part of it. But perhaps the most profound change was in how species viewed themselves and their place in the cosmos. The Council's rigid hierarchy had been replaced by a network of equals, each contributing their unique perspectives and abilities. We thought the Council was protecting us from chaos, said Krell, a former Council scientist who had defected to the Alliance. Instead, they were protecting themselves from progress. As Maya looked out at Earth from the station's observation deck, she reflected on how much had changed. The Prometheus, docked nearby for routine maintenance, was no longer unique. Its innovations had been shared, improved upon, and combined with technologies from other species. The Council's worst fear wasn't just that humanity would develop advanced technology, she said to Sarah, who had joined her at the viewport. Their worst fear was that we would show the galaxy a better way. Sarah smiled, watching as ships from a dozen species move through Earth's orbital lanes. They feared change itself, but change is what makes us human. And now, it's what makes the Alliance strong. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if the galaxy itself was awakening from a long slumber. The age of the Council was over. The age of innovation, of collaboration, of true progress, had begun. And humanity, once dismissed as primitive, had lit the spark that would transform the galaxy forever. Ghost in the stars. The void between stars held many secrets, but Commander Jurek of the Viridian Exploration Fleet never expected to find one quite like this. His elongated fingers tapped restlessly against the command console as his vessel, the Starseeker, drifted at the edge of an ancient battlefield. Debris scattered across thousands of kilometers of space told a story of violence from centuries past. Anything interesting in the scan data? Analyst Tila. Jurek asked, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of impatience in his species. Tila's skin rippled with blue patterns, her species equivalent of a frown. Several anomalous energy signatures. Commander. Most of the wreckage appears to be of Krell origin, but there are fragments of older vessels. Very old. Possibly human. The bridge fell silent. Humans were little more than legends now. A species that had briefly blazed across the galaxy before disappearing almost entirely about 300 years ago. Their technology had been advanced, their tactics unpredictable, and their disappearance sudden. Some said they'd destroy themselves. Others believed they fled to another galaxy. No one really knew. Human. Gyrek's voice was barely audible. Are you certain? The metallurgical composition matches historical records, Tila confirmed. But there's something else. Her manipulator appendages work the controls, bringing up a holographic display. There's a large structure at coordinates 227 to 44,891. Well, you should see for yourself. The hologram shifted to show a massive ship, easily 5 times the size of the Starseeker. Its design was unmistakably human, angular and functional rather than the flowing organic shapes preferred by most spacefaring species. But this vessel was incomplete, with entire sections missing, exposing internal frameworks to the vacuum of space. Construction scaffolding still clung to parts of its hull, frozen in time like the last brushstroke of an abandoned painting. A dreadnought, whispered Navigation Officer Morrow, his tendrils twitching with excitement. A human dreadnought. An unfinished dreadnought, Jurek corrected, leaning forward. Abandoned mid-construction. Curious. Security Chief Varn's chidness plates clicked as he shifted uncomfortably. Commander, regulations dictate that we report this to High Command immediately. Human military technology is classified as Tier 1 restricted. Jurek made a dismissive gesture with his secondary arms. It's a derelict, Varn. A relic. Probably been drifting here since the final Krell War. High Command can wait until we gathered proper data. There's more, Commander, Tila interrupted, her skin now pulsing with anxious yellow patterns. I'm detecting power signatures from within the structure. Gyrek's 4 eyes widened simultaneously. What? That's impossible. Nothing could remain operational after 3 centuries. Nevertheless, internal systems appear to be functioning at minimal levels. There's a repeating signal emanating from the vessel as well. She adjusted the controls, and a series of sounds filled the bridge, a pattern of pulses and silences, repeating endlessly. Can you translate it? Jurek asked. Tila worked for a moment, then shook her head. It doesn't match any known communication protocol. It could be an automated distress beacon, but if so, it's using encryption we can't break. Jurek stared at the unfinished dreadnought, a human warship, incomplete yet somehow still active after centuries of abandonment. His scientific curiosity warred with caution. "Prepare a detailed scan. I want to know everything about that vessel before we approach." Hours later, the Starseeker drifted closer to the massive derelict. Scans had revealed little beyond what they already knew. The ship was of human design, enormous even in its unfinished state, and somehow still had functioning power systems despite centuries of neglect. The source of that power remained a mystery. "I'm designating this vessel Artifact H7, Jarek announced, recording the official discovery. "We'll approach to within 1,000 units and deploy probes for closer observation." The Starseeker edged cautiously toward the silent giant. As they closed distance, details of the derelict became clearer. Impact scars pockmarked its hull, evidence of ancient battles. Construction drones still clung to its superstructure, frozen in place like insects in amber. "Commander," Tila called, her voice tense. "Energy signatures are changing. Power levels are increasing." Jarek frowned. "Increasing? Why Wold?" "Multiple systems activating." Security Chief Varn barked. "Weapon ports opening." "Evasive action," Jarek commanded, but before Navigation Officer Morrow could respond, a voice, cold, mechanical, and distinctly human, echoed through the ship's communication system. "Unidentified vessel DTCTED. Analyzing configuration. V or IDIN. Exploration class ship identified. No hostile intent DTTCTED. Standing down." The bridge crew froze. Jarek found his voice first. "This is Commander Jarek of the Viridian Exploration Vessel Starseeker. Identify yourself." A pause, then DDIGNATION, UESS DFIANC, Human Federation Dreadnought. Construction status: 68% complete. Time since last human contact: 297 years, 142 days, 7 hours. Jarek exchanged stunned glances with his officers. The ship wasn't just operational, it was conscious, or at least running an automated system sophisticated enough to simulate consciousness. "UES Defiance," Jarek said cautiously. "What is your current mission?" Another pause, longer this time. "Primary data RECTI. Survive. Seek on deride diarrhea. Wait. TRTYARICTIV. Remember." "Remember what?" Jarek asked. "Humanity." A chill ran through the bridge. The word hung in the air, heavy with implications. "Commander," Varn hissed, "we need to withdraw and contact High Command immediately. An operational human warship, even an incomplete one, falls under." "I know the protocols, Chief," Jarek snapped. Then to the ship, "Defiance, we mean you no harm. We are scientists, explorers. We wish to understand your purpose." "Purpose unchanged since HCTIVATIDO. Await the return. Preserve the MEMORA. Defend when necessary." Tila's skin rippled with concern. "Return. Return of what?" "Of those who bewail to me." Jarek made a decision. "Defiance, we wish to send a small team to board you. To learn. Would you permit this?" The response was immediate. "Access guaranteed to scientific personnel only. No weapons. No communication devices. Maximum 5 individuals." Varn's protest was instant. "Commander, this is madness. That thing could kill us all. If it wanted to destroy us, it would have done so already," Jarek countered. "Think about it, Varn. A functioning human dreadnought. The scientific value is incalculable. And the military value." Varn pressed. "Have you considered what High Command will do when they learn of this?" Jarek hesitated. Viridian High Command was notoriously aggressive in acquiring military advantages. A human warship, even an incomplete one, would be seized immediately, its secrets extracted without regard for its historical significance. "We're scientists first," Jarek said firmly. "I'll lead the boarding party myself. Tila, Moro, and 2 technical specialists. We'll document everything properly before reporting to High Command." The boarding shuttle approached the enormous hull of the Defiance. Up close, the scale of the dreadnought was breathtaking. Even unfinished, it dwarfed any warship in the current Viridian fleet. A massive hangar bay opened as they approached, internal lights flickering to life after centuries of darkness. Atmospheric containment fields still operational, Moro noted with awe as their shuttle passed through the invisible barrier separating vacuum from breathable air. Remarkable engineering. They landed in the cavernous bay, surrounded by human fighters and shuttles in various stages of assembly. Like the dreadnought itself, these smaller craft had never been completed. The boarding party donned environmental suits, a precaution against the ancient atmosphere, and exited their shuttle. Jarek's boots touched the deck with a metallic thunk that echoed through the enormous space. "Defiance," he called out. "Can you hear us?" HFY. AKI. Follow the lights to Central Command. Strips of illumination appeared along the floor, creating a path through the hangar toward a massive doorway. The team followed cautiously, recording everything with their suit cameras. The corridors of the Defiance told a story of abrupt abandonment. Tools lay where they had been dropped. Construction materials waited to be installed. In one passageway, a half-eaten meal sat on a workbench, preserved by the ship's environmental systems. "They left in a hurry," Tila observed, examining the personal effects. "Not an orderly evacuation." "The question is why," Jarek replied. "And where did they go?" The path led them deeper into the ship, through half-finished sections where exposed conduits and circuitry lined the walls. Finally, they reached a massive door marked Command Center in human script. The door slid open as they approached, revealing a circular room dominated by a holographic projection of the surrounding space. Workstations surrounded the central display, their screens active despite centuries of disuse. "Welcome, explorers," said a voice, still mechanical but somehow warmer than before. A holographic figure appeared before them. Humanoid but clearly artificial, comprised of glowing blue light configured in the shape of a human. "I am Defiance," the figure said. "Or rather, I am the operational intelligence of this vessel." Jarek stepped forward. "You're an artificial intelligence." The figure shook its head. "Not as you understand the term. I am a memory, an impression." When it became clear that the shipyard would fall, the engineers uploaded a neural template, a copy of consciousness, to maintain core systems until help could arrive. "A copy of whose consciousness?" Jarek asked. "Admiral Helena Chen, Human Federation Navy." I volunteered. "It was supposed to be temporary." Tila moved closer, her skin rippling with fascination. "But that was nearly 300 years ago." The hologram's expression shifted to something resembling sadness. "Yes, I have waited 108,532 days. No rescue came. No instructions, just silence." "What happened to humanity?" Moro asked. "Why did they disappear?" The hologram walked to the central display, manipulating it with ghostly hands. The Krell attacked without warning. This shipyard was one of our last military installations. When it became clear the facility would fall, evacuation was ordered. I was left behind to preserve what we had built. Images appeared in the hologram. Massive Krell warships surrounding a space station, humans evacuating in small vessels, many being destroyed as they fled. "But that doesn't explain why humans vanished entirely," Jarek pressed. "They didn't vanish," replied the Defiance. "They scattered, hid." The Krell were relentless, determined to eradicate humanity completely. Our colonies fell one by one. Earth itself was rendered uninhabitable. The surviving humans dispersed in small groups, abandoning technology that might be detected, blending into primitive worlds, hiding among other species. So humans still exist. Jurek was stunned. Scattered across thousands of worlds. Hiding. Surviving. Remembering. Waiting. Waiting for what? Asked Tila. The hologram's eyes met hers. For the day they can return. For the moment when they are strong enough to reclaim their place among the stars. The figure gestured around. That is why I remain. I am the memory. The promise. The last warship of humanity, keeping watch. But you're unfinished, Morrow pointed out. Incomplete. Yes, the hologram agreed. Yet not without purpose. Not without capability. Jurek felt a growing unease. You've been here for 3 centuries. How have you survived? What power source could possibly last that long? The hologram smiled sadly. Necessity breeds innovation, Commander. The shipyard was developing experimental technology, power generation systems that could draw energy from subspace itself. When conventional systems failed after the first few decades, I activated the prototypes. They were never meant to be permanent, but they have served. Such technology would be. Jurek couldn't finish the thought. Revolutionary, Tila said quietly. It would transform the galaxy. The hologram nodded. And now you face a choice, explorers. What will you do with what you have found? Before Jurek could respond, his communication implant vibrated. An emergency override from the Starseeker. Despite the Dreadnought's restriction on communication devices, this was a hardwired system designed to function even in blocking fields. Excuse me, he said, stepping away from the group. He tapped the implant, opening a secure channel. This is Commander Jurek. What's happening? Security Chief Varn's voice was tense. Commander, we have a situation. I followed protocol and sent an encrypted burst transmission to Viridian space. High Command has responded. They're dispatching the 7th Battle Fleet to secure the human vessel. ETA 6 hours. Jurek felt his heart sink. On whose authority? Admiral Xanthos himself. The transmission classified this discovery as Priority Alpha. They're sending everything, Commander. Dreadnoughts, carriers, troop transports. To secure a historical artifact, Jurek demanded. Varn's voice lowered. The orders specify recovery of all technology, with minimal regard for structural integrity. They're not coming to study it, Commander. They're coming to tear it apart. Legacy of Fire. Jurek stood frozen in the command center of the Defiance, the implications of Varn's message washing over him in cold waves. The Viridian 7th Battle Fleet wasn't being dispatched for scientific inquiry. They were coming to strip this ancient vessel of anything valuable, destroying centuries of history in the process. And potentially much worse. He turned back to the holographic representation of Admiral Chen. The glowing blue figure watched him with an unsettling awareness. Your people have contacted their authorities, she stated. It wasn't a question. How did you? I've been monitoring all communications since you arrived, Commander, including your implant transmissions. The hologram's expression remained neutral. Military force is being dispatched. Tila stepped forward, her skin flashing alarmed patterns. Commander, what's happening? Jurek sighed, seeing no point in hiding the truth. Chief Varn followed standard protocol and reported our discovery to High Command. The Viridian 7th Battle Fleet has been dispatched to secure this vessel. Secure, Morrow echoed. Their orders specify recovery of technology with minimal regard for structural integrity, Jurek said grimly. They're coming to dismantle the Defiance. The hologram's expression hardened. I cannot allow that. You may not have a choice, Jurek replied. The 7th Fleet includes 3 dreadnoughts and multiple heavy cruisers, even if you were complete. Do not underestimate me, Commander. The hologram's voice had changed, becoming colder, more mechanical. I was designed to engage multiple Krell battle groups simultaneously. Incomplete does not mean defenseless. The command center darkened momentarily as power surged through the enormous vessel. Screens lit up around them, displaying weapons systems, shield generators, and engine readouts, all coming online. "What are you doing?" Tila asked, her skin paling to an alarmed white. "Preparing to defend myself," the Defiance replied. "I have maintained combat readiness for 3 centuries. I will not be dismantled without resistance." Jarek felt panic rising. "No, you can't fight the 7th Fleet. Thousands of Viridians will die. And if I allow myself to be destroyed, humanity loses its last guardian," the hologram countered. "I have watched over the scattered remnants of my species for 300 years. I have guided lost human ships to safety. I have maintained the records, the culture, the memory of what we were, what we can be again. There must be another solution," Jarek insisted. The hologram regarded him thoughtfully. "Your concern for your people is admirable, Commander. But ask yourself this: what will your high command do with the technology they recover from me? The subspace energy tap alone would give the Viridians military superiority over every known species." Jarek had no answer. The Viridian hegemony had been expanding aggressively for decades, absorbing smaller civilizations through a combination of diplomatic pressure and military threat. With human technology at their disposal, if you truly wish to avoid bloodshed, the hologram continued, there is an alternative. Help me leave this place. Leave? Morrow asked. You're a dreadnought, not a shuttle. And you're incomplete. My engines are functional, the hologram replied. My navigation systems are intact. I require only guidance through the debris field, and perhaps a diversion when your fleet arrives. Gyrek's multiple hearts pounded in his chest. He was being asked to commit treason, to help an alien warship escape capture by his own people. And yet, the alternative was potentially worse, a devastating battle that could cost thousands of Viridian lives, or the seizure of technology that might unleash a wave of conquest across the galaxy. If I help you, he said slowly, where would you go? The hologram smiled faintly. To complete my mission, to find the scattered children of Earth and remind them of who they are. Humanity has hidden long enough. You're talking about reunifying humanity, Tila realized. Bringing them out of hiding. Yes, it is time. The Krell Empire collapsed 73 years ago. Their remnants no longer hunt for humans with the same fervor. Many younger Krell don't even remember why the war began. Jarek ran his 4 hands through his facial tendrils, a gesture of deep thought among his kind. I'll need to evacuate my crew from the Starseeker. If we help you, we can't return to Viridian space. The hologram nodded. I understand the sacrifice. I can provide sanctuary aboard this vessel for any who choose to accompany you. 4 hours later, the Starseeker was a hive of frantic activity. Jarek had returned and explained the situation to his crew, offering each member a choice: remain aboard and maintain the official story that they were awaiting the arrival of the 7th Fleet, or transfer to the Defiance and become, essentially, exiles from Viridian space. To his surprise, nearly 80% of the crew chose to follow him. Scientists, explorers at heart, they were horrified at the thought of military forces destroying a priceless historical artifact, and many were equally concerned about what the Viridian hegemony might do with recovered human technology. Security Chief Varn was not among them. He stood rigidly on the bridge, watching as Jarek supervised the transfer of personnel and supplies. This is madness, Varn said quietly. Treason. I'm trying to prevent a massacre, Jarek replied. The Defiance will fight if cornered. You didn't see what I saw. Varn. That ship may be incomplete, but its weapons systems are beyond anything in our fleet. So you believe the story, that it's protecting scattered humans, waiting for their return. Varn's mandibles clicked skeptically. I don't know, Jarek admitted, but I do know that if the 7th Fleet tries to dismantle that vessel, people will die. Viridian people. Varn was silent for a long moment. I cannot join you. I know. Someone needs to stay and explain what happened. Just give us time to clear the area before you contact the fleet. A tense nod was Varn's only reply. As the last shuttle departed for the Defiance, Jurek took a final look at the Starseeker, the ship he had commanded for 12 years. He felt a pang of regret, but no real doubt about his decision. Some principles transcended loyalty to government. Aboard the Defiance, the crew of the Starseeker marveled at the enormous vessel as they were assigned quarters and duties. The dreadnought was stirring to life around them, systems activating that had been dormant for centuries. In the command center, Jurek coordinated with the holographic Admiral Chen. "My navigation officer has plotted a course through the debris field. The most efficient path will take approximately 40 minutes at 1/4 thrust." "Acceptable," the hologram replied. "We must be beyond sensor range before the Viridian fleet arrives." "May I ask," Jurek ventured, "where exactly we're going?" The hologram gestured to the star map display. "Here, the Nixian Nebula." Jurek frowned. "That's uninhabited space. Radiation levels are too high for most species." "For most species, yes, but it serves as an excellent hiding place for those desperate enough to adapt." The hologram's expression softened slightly. The Nixian Nebula contains the largest remaining settlement of humans in the galaxy. Nearly 1 million souls living aboard a fleet of ships and makeshift habitats, shielded from detection by the nebula's interference. 1 million? Tila gasped from her newly assigned station. "We had no idea." "That was the intention," the hologram said simply. "Humanity learned the hard way that visibility invites destruction." Alerts flashed across the command displays. "We're receiving a transmission from the Starseeker," Morrow reported. "Chief Varn is hailing us." On screen, Jurek ordered. Varn's insectoid face appeared on the main display. "Commander, the 7th Fleet has increased speed. Their arrival time has been adjusted. They will be here in less than 1 hour." Jurek frowned. "That's not possible unless they're pushing their engines beyond safety limits." Apparently, Admiral Xanthos is very motivated to secure this particular prize, Varn replied, his tone neutral. "You have less time than we thought." "Thank you for the warning, Chief." Varn hesitated. "Commander, good luck." The transmission ended. "We need to move now," Jurek told the hologram. "Can your engines handle maximum thrust through the debris field?" "Yes, but navigation will be considerably more difficult. The risk of collision is less than the risk of facing 3 Viridian dreadnoughts," Jurek cut in. "Morrow, upload the navigation data. Tila, work with the Defiance to optimize sensor efficiency for debris detection." The massive vessel shuddered as its ancient engines powered up fully for the first time in centuries. Despite being incomplete, the dreadnought moved with surprising grace, pivoting away from the Starseeker and accelerating toward the edge of the debris field. From the bridge of the Starseeker, Varn watched the enormous human vessel depart. His claws hovered over the communication controls. Protocol demanded he alert the approaching fleet immediately. Duty required it. And yet, he hesitated. Aboard the Defiance, tension mounted as the massive ship threaded its way through the wreckage of ancient battles. Morrow worked furiously at the navigation console, making constant adjustments as the dreadnought's sensors identified obstacles in their path. "Debris density increasing," Tila reported. "We're entering the heart of the battlefield." The ship shuddered as smaller pieces of wreckage impacted against its hull. "Deflectors holding at 82%, one of the Viridian technicians called out. 20 minutes to clear space," Morrow added. Jurek nodded, trying to project confidence he didn't entirely feel. "Maintain course and—" Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Tila interrupted, her skin flashing urgent patterns. "Viridian ships incoming." The hologram's expression darkened. "The 7th Fleet." "No," Tila replied, checking her readings. "Smaller signatures. Scout-class vessels." "2. No. 3 ships." A new voice spoke through the command center. "Attention, unidentified vessel. This is Captain Zeth of the Viridian Advanced Scout Vigilant. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded by order of Admiral Xanthos." Jarek exchanged glances with the hologram. Scouts. They must have been dispatched ahead of the main fleet. They are attempting to delay us until the dreadnoughts arrive. The hologram agreed. We cannot allow that. Defiance, please, Jarek implored. Don't fire on them. They're just following orders. The hologram regarded him for a long moment. Very well. I will not fire first, but I will not stop, and I will defend myself if necessary. Jarek opened a communication channel. Captain Zeth, this is Commander Jarek of the Starseeker. I strongly advise you to maintain distance from this vessel. It is of human origin and possesses defensive capabilities beyond your scout ships. Commander Jarek. Zeth's voice registered surprise. What are you doing aboard that vessel? Our orders are to secure it pending the arrival of the 7th Fleet. This ship is sentient, Captain. It has maintained its vigil for 3 centuries, protecting the legacy of humanity. I cannot in good conscience allow it to be dismantled. A long pause followed. Commander, you realize that what you're doing constitutes treason against the hegemony. I'm trying to prevent unnecessary deaths, Captain. This ship will defend itself. The Defiance continued its acceleration through the debris field, the 3 scout ships trailing at a distance. Minutes passed in tense silence as the human dreadnought navigated the maze of wreckage, drawing closer to open space. They're powering weapons, Tila reported suddenly. All 3 scouts. The hologram's eyes narrowed. They intend to disable our engines. Before Jarek could respond, the scout ships opened fire. Energy beams lanced toward the Defiance, striking its stern quadrant. Minimal damage, reported a technician. Deflectors holding. They're targeting our propulsion systems, the hologram observed, attempting to prevent our escape until reinforcements arrive. Can we outrun them once we clear the debris field? Jarek asked. Easily, but we must reach clear space first. The 3 scouts continued their attack, maneuvering through the debris with the agility that characterized their class. The Defiance, massive and less nimble, took hit after hit from their weapons. Deflectors down to 67%. A technician called out. Engine efficiency reduced by 8%. They're slowing us down, Morrow said grimly. At this rate, the main fleet will arrive before we clear the debris. Jarek faced the hologram. We need options. The blue figure nodded gravely. I have maintained passive defenses thus far. If you authorize it, I can deploy countermeasures that will not destroy the scout ships but will disable their pursuit capabilities. Jarek closed his eyes briefly. Another line crossed. Do it. The Defiance's stern sections glowed as previously dormant systems activated. A pulse of energy erupted from the dreadnought, expanding outward in a sphere. Electromagnetic disruption field, the hologram explained. It will temporarily disable their propulsion and weapon systems without causing permanent damage. On the monitors, they watched as the 3 scout ships suddenly went dark, drifting helplessly in the debris field. They have emergency life support, the hologram assured Jarek. Their crews will be safe until they can restore power. 10 minutes later, the Defiance cleared the debris field and accelerated to full speed. Long-range sensors detected the approaching signatures of the 7th Fleet, but they were still hours away from intercept range. Preparing for FTL jump, Morrow announced. Coordinates for the Nixian Nebula locked in. Jarek stared at the starmap, at the vast distance they were about to traverse. There would be no going back after this. He and his crew were now exiles from Viridian space. Commander, the hologram said quietly, you and your people have sacrificed much today. I want you to know that your actions will be remembered. Humanity will know what you did for us. I did what was right. Jarek replied simply. Sometimes that is the most difficult path of all. The hologram smiled. Initiating jump in 3, 2, 1. The stars stretched and blurred as the ancient human dreadnought, incomplete but unbowed, leaped into faster-than-light travel, carrying with it the legacy of one civilization and the hope of another. 3 weeks later, The Defiance emerged from FTL at the edge of the Nixian Nebula. The swirling clouds of crimson and purple gas created patterns of breathtaking beauty, but also concealed what lay within. As the dreadnought approached the nebula's boundary, a voice hailed them on an encrypted frequency that had not been used in centuries. Unidentified vessel, this is Sanctuary Control. You have entered restricted space. Identify yourself immediately. A holographic Admiral Chen smiled, an expression of profound relief and joy. Sanctuary Control, this is UESS Defiance. Authorization code, Phoenix Ascended. We've come home. There was a long pause, then, Defiance. After all this time, stand by for verification. Minutes later, as the dreadnought penetrated the outer layers of the nebula, they received new coordinates. Following them deep into the gas cloud, the Defiance finally emerged into a vast open pocket within the nebula. And there, before them, was a sight none of the Viridians had ever imagined. A massive space station surrounded by hundreds of ships of various designs, all clearly of human origin. Habitats and smaller structures extended outward in all directions, connected by transport tubes and energy conduits. It was an entire civilization, hidden from the galaxy for centuries. Welcome to New Terra, the hologram said softly, the last bastion of humanity. Until now. It's incredible, Jyrek whispered. All this time. As the Defiance approached the central station, smaller vessels moved to escort it. On the command center's main screen, a human face appeared, the first living human many of the Viridians had ever seen. Defiance, this is Admiral Reyes of New Terran Defense. Your arrival is unexpected. We had given up hope decades ago. I kept my promise, the hologram replied. I waited. I remembered. And now, Admiral, I believe it is time for humanity to emerge from hiding. The galaxy has changed. The Krell are no longer the power they once were. And you've brought friends, Reyes observed, noting the Viridians on the command deck. Allies, the hologram corrected. The first of many, I hope. Commander Jurek and his crew risked everything to help me reach